Okay. All right, injury updates here for you. Jordan Phillips will not make the game nor practice today. Same with Matt Prater and Jordan Poyer. Everybody else will see how they fare today.
Go ahead, Captain. Expectation on Josh, I'm sure, just go ahead.
Should be good to go. Yeah, he's the soreness is kind of dissipated, day to day as we move through the week here, so he should be in a good spot.
You're not expecting like any limitations for him?
No.
Sean, with a game, I understand you have a game on Sunday, and that's the focal point, but you also already know that you're going to the playoffs, and as the Eagles also know that as well.
Yeah.
Does it change anything with like the long-term outlook? Do you maybe divide and conquer a plan of what you need to do now, but also putting yourselves in the best situation down the road? Does any of that happen, or does it really strictly just stay on the game?
No, it stays primarily on the game. You want to win a game. Part of the job of a leader, though, is always having bigger picture perspective as well. So you don't want to be too narrow-sighted on things. And so it's kind of like you have to have both in the seat that I sit in, I believe, to have the focus on where it needs to be the next 48 hours here, and then also keep bigger picture perspective on some important items, at least, if that makes sense, without getting into detail. So.
How challenging is it to flip the mindset? Because this is the first week now, this season in particular, where that does change. Like, you're going to the postseason. How do you keep that big picture while also being so focused on what you have to accomplish Sunday?
Yeah. Keeping the main thing is the top priority. So that's really where everything starts. The rest of it is how well one can multitask. And I'm the only one that needs to do that. So everybody else, just let's keep the main thing, and keep what's important, and that's where our focus is.
Josh joked on Tuesday that maybe we can all skip OTAs after the season, so it's cooked his head. He was joking.
He said that?
He was joking. And then, what do you make of what James has done, given the challenges he went through over the offseason with his personal contract situation, and how he's responded to that?
Yeah, there's usually two ways these things play out, and one is player gets a contract, gets paid, and they kind of relax, and that is human nature, right? That's natural to a certain extent. And then there's others that get paid and they go a different direction, and it's different direction than what I just talked about. So he has definitely gone this other direction of more invested, more impact on our team, and not just from carrying the ball from that extent, certainly that extent, but also his mindset, his attitude, his competitive nature, his influence on our team, the way he motivates our team. You watch him during a game, and the team is inspired by not only how he plays, but also his words that he uses and how he leads. And that's really a credit to him over the years, developing not only on the field, but off the field, and now in a way of becoming one of the main leaders of our football team.
With Jordan Poyer out, I know you guys have sometimes gone situationally at safety based on what the other team is showing. Do you plan to kind of rotate there, or do you want to be consistent?
Yeah, we're still looking through that. I mean, we've got, different safeties who have been playing back there, kind of mixing in other positions, and, some players that have been with us through the year, and some new players, and taking a look at all of them here.
What will it mean for Cole Bishop to kind of be playing alongside that, figuring out what's happening? Basically?
Yeah, I mean,
The bigger community.
you want to have continuity, right? In the whole lineup, that's where consistency really starts, is when you have, talking about consistency of performance, when you have continuity, at least within NFL context of continuity, because you're always going to have some attrition through some injuries week to week. I think just consistency overall gets affected performance-wise when you don't have the continuity that you'd like to have. And so, we've been fighting that all year, and it'll be no different this week. So Cole's used to it, quite honestly. He's, played alongside of T-Rap, played alongside of DeMar, played alongside of Jordan. Who's next, right? So I applaud him in the way he's handled that and how he's moved and developed through it.
I know Daquan Jones has been dealing with the calf injury for a while now. Did he have some kind of setback to what he was at DMV?
A little bit, I would say, just coming out of that game a little bit after the game, and just still dealing with it. It's either where it was or slightly worse maybe, so we're just trying to figure that piece out right now.
Sean, Josh said in Cleveland that you guys are in the playoff mode. With that being understood, how do you view this game against Philadelphia, defending Super Bowl champion, coming in 2 weeks before the start of the playoffs? Is maybe a good benchmark for you guys for the caliber of teams you guys will be playing in the playoffs, again, just 2 weeks before that starts?
Yeah, good challenge for us, right? That's how we look at it. I don't know beyond that is, I don't think we make one game bigger than another. It's really about how well we play and how well we compete, and it's something we're looking forward to. They're certainly at the top and world champs, so they got a really strong roster, as has been talked about for years now, and so we'll have our hands full, but looking forward to and fully confident in our guys as well, and looking forward to the challenge.
In the same sense, in the same vein, how much are you looking forward to seeing the ongoing issue, the inconsistency with the run defense, and how it responds to in a game where you've got Jalen and Saquon Barkley in that type of a threat?
Yeah, and that's part of the challenge that they bring to the table. Both of those guys carry the football. They do it well. Saquon's kind of one of one in the way he's, changed the running back position because of his level of play and the things that he's able to do. Jalen has won a Super Bowl and, has had his hand in both the run and the pass game, obviously, for them. So it'll be a challenge for our defense, but I'm looking forward to watching our defense perform and move forward as a defense and improving each week as we go down the stretch here. That's the goal.
Just to follow up on that, you had mentioned on Wednesday how their rushing numbers don't necessarily represent what they can do. What do you see out of them in their run game?
Well, if you look at it, their personnel is really almost exactly the same as it was last year when they won a Super Bowl, and you saw what they were doing this past week when they played Washington and got the run game going, and Saquon was doing things that only Saquon can do. So I'm sure that they feel like that's a big goal of theirs, is to get that run game going again as well, and so that's not something that we're going to ignore. I can promise you that. So, but when you do that, you've got to also contend with the receivers and the tight end group that they have, and like I said before, a very, very talented group.
John, as you're coaching the last couple of games, what is the balance between continuity with who you run out there as the 5 wide receivers versus mixing and matching to try and figure out who your 5 are going to be in the playoffs?
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier when we were talking about some of the defensive pieces and things, you want to have continuity. And again, through the natural week-to-week injury things that every team faces, continuity gives you a form this time of year and structure and just knowing each other, right? So in this defensively, or in this case offensively in the pass game, that's important for us. And so we're very aware of that, heightened awareness of that, especially down the stretch. So, we continue to, that's what we want, and where we're at are right now 2 different things. That's just being real with you here. So, but we're trying to find that in order to get it to here. It's just, it's taken longer than we would have liked at this point. But I remain confident in the guys in that room, in the wide receiver room that you're referring to, and I'm looking forward to them coming out, playing with a chip on their shoulder, and getting us into a groove here.
Coach, how has Darnell Savage's acclimation process gone the last few weeks?
Yeah, he's done a real good job. He really has. A good addition to our team in terms of his personality, in terms of his demeanor. He's played in a couple different systems to this point, Green Bay and then Jacksonville as well. So, and I think it was a little bit in Washington, as well. So, he's been around football. He knows what it looks like, just different terminology maybe. So it's been good to have him around the program here.
Coach, we've heard the word grit be used a lot this season to reflect the type of play on the field and the type of team that the Bills are in 2025. How would you describe grit as a word to reflect what this team has done this year?
Yeah, no, it's how you find a way, right? How do you find your way through, in this case, football, but how do you find your way through life, right? And there's certain levels of that you got to have, and those are some of the lessons we try and talk about as a team. I try and talk about with my kids. It's not always going to be easy, and the football season, the journey of it is there's some highs, there's some lows, and so you stay together and you keep taking one step, putting one foot in front of the other, and if you do, that light at the end of the tunnel grows a little bit brighter each day. So that's what we're trying to do.
Sean, after Monday, you guys have the longest active playoff streak in the NFL. Obviously, when you came here, you inherited the playoff drought. You just reflect back to 2017, that season, the emotions of clinching the playoffs for the first time, and how have those emotions changed year in and year out as you guys continue to do it?
Yeah, I mean, it's not something you ever take for granted when you look back. When we first got here, with 17 years of, great football in the early 90s, right? And Steve's in here and all the guys that I've been able to meet that I watched on television and hold in very, very high regard. And what those teams led by Coach Levy were able to accomplish will never be done again, never in the modern era of NFL football. So that stands alone. And then go 17 years of what it was and now what it is, and that's taken a lot of work from a lot of people, and not just on the football side, the business side, the community relations side. It's a whole organization-wide effort, and really what it's been, and it's great to be a part of it. There's been a journey even with that, right? And some real special times, and then some times that have gotten hard, but we've found a way, going back to Maddie's question, and I do believe that comes with really what Buffalo is all about. Right? The people of Buffalo, the community of Buffalo, their team, the way I feel about it is the team needs to personify what the community is all about, and I think that's a great pairing here for what we've been able to do and how, most importantly, we've been able to do it. Very good. Thank you, guys. Have a good day.